All right, what's going on YouTube? Diggy546. The Giants have completely and utterly shocked the world from the beginning of this season up to now. We started off hot 6-1, or I think it was 6-1. We started off for 6-2. Either way, we started off really hot. People were thinking we were going to get to 11, maybe 12 wins, and then we start the losing. The injuries pile on as they always do. Wan'Dale Robinson goes for over 100 yards, tears his ACL. Adoree Jackson is returning the punt. For what reason? He didn't have one successful punt return his entire time returning these punts, but they kept him back there, and he gets hurt. McKinney on our bye week breaks his hand into a million different pieces. It was looking bleak, but this team gathered themselves. They rallied. They fought themselves back into it, and after a couple of just games where we could have played a lot better, the Giants showed up, showed out, and against, listen, this Colts team, this Colts team right here, yes, they won 4 games this year. Yes, they're one of the worst teams in the league. But this is what big time players do. When big time players, and I'm talking about these two guys, and I'm talking about a couple of other guys on the team. When I say these two guys, I mean these two guys right here. A couple of other guys on the team, they showed up. They showed up. Dexter Lawrence showed up. Landon Collins. Shout out to Landon Collins, 21. Shout out to Landon Collins, a guy that literally left this team the last time we made the playoffs. He left a little bit after that, but he left the team and he was on this team the last time we made the playoffs, made a pick six that changed that season. And today he had a huge pick six that pretty much ended the game for them. Put us to 21 points. Once we got to 21, we knew this game was over. Killed their confidence. So shout out to Landon Collins for still having that star power, still making that big play, and being fast enough at his new weight to actually take this back for a touchdown. But again, big time players are supposed to show up when you need them to show up against the worst teams. How many times, Giants fans, have we gone against teams that we say, "Oh, well, this team is the worst team in the league. This team can't stop the run. We have Saquon Barkley. We should be able to run for 250 yards." And we don't do it. And I got people in my live stream right now saying the Colts suck. And yes, they do. But how many times do you see a quarterback go out there and put up 4 touchdowns? Just because the team is bad, they're going to score. By that logic, every team would score 4 touchdowns against the Colts. And that's not even counting what he could have had Landon Collins not had that pick six. So I got to give props. You can't control who's on the schedule, and they dominated today. This is the first kind of blowout game the Giants have had legitimately where they've gotten into the high 30s and blown the team out. This is the first one in forever. This is the first time we've even gotten to 35 plus points in forever. So props all around to this team. Props to this offense. Props to Mike Kafka for calling a really good game. Props to Brian Dable for keeping this team in it all season. The Giants are in the playoffs for the first time since 2016, and it's just great. It's just great, man. It's like this is all we could ask for as Giants fans. We're undefeated in 2023. Let me go over some of these stats for y'all. First, I'll go over the team stats. The Giants put up 394 total yards. Indianapolis put up 252. Giants 177. Not a ton of passing yards, but 217 rushing yards. And again, a couple of times we had short fields. 38 points, of course. Lost that fumble too because of Darius Slayton. No sacks given up. 57% on third down. Let's see. Did we kick any field goals? I want to see if we kicked any field goal. We kicked one field goal, I know. Okay, so we went, I think, 4 for 5 in the red zone or something. Something crazy like that in the red zone. We went 4 for 5 in the red zone. Only kicked one field goal. Let's go down this list real quick. 19 for 24 for Daniel Jones. 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, no turnovers, 91 yards rushing. For the people that want to talk about what Daniel Jones didn't do, how he only threw for 177 yards rushing, 177 yards passing. Well, the guy had 91 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. Big time. Saquon Barkley had 58 yards. Matt Breida had 59. Not the best game from Saquon Barkley, but he did what he needed to do. Definitely hurt my fantasy team. And guys, anybody who's in my stream knows that I literally benched Daniel Jones for Kirk Cousins because I listened to everybody. I thought that Kirk Cousins, along with Justin Jefferson and the Jair Alexander, I thought they were going to have a big game, and it's still possible. Still possible. But Daniel Jones putting up 91 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground and 2 touchdowns through the air. That's going to be tough to beat. Richie James. Shout out to Richie James because we were on Richie James. We were piling on Richie James. After he fumbled those 2 times in the Seahawks game and pretty much lost us that game, Giants fans wanted to cut Richie James. I was saying cut Richie James. But he showed up today. 7 targets, 76 yards, and a touchdown on 7 targets. On seven receptions on 7 targets. 100% reception percentage. He has, I think, the 3rd or 4th best reception percentage in the league. So, I mean, listen, Richie James, you're balling. You're balling. Not like he's a number one, not like he's one of the best receivers in the league, but he's balling. Considering that he's not that guy, but he's showing up. 42 yards for Isaiah Hodgins and another touchdown. The dude has 5 touchdowns in 4 games. He's been here for less than 2 months. And Isaiah Hodgins, he has a crazy amount of chemistry with Daniel Jones. Crazy amount of chemistry. Bellinger, really good clutch catches. Only 42 yards, but really clutch catches he had all day long. And, of course, Landon Collins with the interception. McKinney would have dropped the interception because he had the club on his hand like this. Thibodeau with a sack, and he decided to do snow angels. Lawrence with a sack. Everybody showed up that needed to show up. The big-time players, they came out and partied today. Leonard Williams, 2 assisted tackles, nothing else. I had to look at the tape to see how Leonard Williams really played. But other than that, the big-time players showed up today. The big-time players showed up today. And that's what you need when you're playing against the Colts. When you're playing against the Colts, when you're playing against the worst teams in the league, you need a big-time game from your best players on your team. And that's what happened. So, shout out again to Daniel Jones. I cannot give this dude enough credit because it's been up and down with him. It's been up and down. And we talk about, how he plays against this team, how he plays against that team, how he plays year in and year out. Is he going to throw for 30 touchdowns? Is he going to throw for 3 touchdowns a game? Well, guess what? Daniel Jones has carved out a niche for himself where he can go out there and he can run for between 50 to 90 yards. He can go out there and get you some real yards running the football and be a factor that way. And then still go out there and throw for his yards throwing the ball without a number 2 receiver. Literally without a guy who you can even call a number 2 receiver. So get this guy. I'm ready. I'm ready to run it back. I saw the reports coming out saying that Daniel Jones is looking at, a multi-year deal with the Giants. I'm ready for it. Go out there, get this guy a number 1 receiver. Get this guy a little bit more help on the line. Get Wan'Dale healthy. Bring back Isaiah Hodgins. Sign a vet. Get that wide receiver core together so you give this guy a fighting chance throwing the ball on a consistent basis and watch everything fall into place. Because, again, he's done all he can do at this point with the guys he has out there. It is what it is. Dominant game from him. Dominant game from him all around. So I wanted to give some props to him. Let me think of some more unsung heroes that I want to give some props to. Let's give some props to Wink. I mean, giving up 10 points. Yes, it's the Colts, but still giving up 10 points, man, and getting a defensive touchdown with all the injuries you got, man. Adoree Jackson out. They still got some solid players. Really good stuff. Wink. I already talked about Kafka. It just is what it is, man. I just am so happy that the Giants are finally going back to the playoffs. We're going to play either the Vikings or the 49ers. I think it's one of those teams that will play one of those 2 teams. And we just got to go out there and get it done. We just got to go out there and get it done. And if we can do that, it's listen. We win a playoff game. That's it's not a Super Bowl in my book, but it's a huge accomplishment for Brian Dable in his first year. And I think this is a huge first step because I think we're finally doing it the right way. I think that this is not a temporary success kind of thing. I think we're going to add more talent. We're going to continue to be a team that can win 9 to 11 to 12 games. This first year. We're at 9 wins. We could win next week too, but this first year we're at 9 wins through 16 games. So I'm gonna just be happy with it. So 10 minutes in, happy we're in the playoffs. Go Giants. We got another game next week. Hopefully it's kicking our feet up. I don't want to rest any players. We're not resting any players over here. I'm not doing it. I don't want to do it. Hopefully we don't. Let's get ready to play that playoff game in 2 weeks and prove the world wrong. Let's keep doing it.